answer you. Because one of you, I don't know if you are here, asked him a simple but precise question. And I like these simple, precise questions because they are the nastiest, in the sense of they are the really hard questions. Like, how do you know that an event is an event? This is the eternal question that Badiou is attacked for. Like, how do you distinguish an event from a pseudo-event? Usually, politically, what is behind here is Heidegger. Because for Badiou, Heidegger is an example of getting fascinated, seduced by a pseudo-event. Looking for a revolution, he thought he found it in the Nazi revolution. So how do you distinguish it? I don't think that you can really catch him here. He has, read him closely, a precise definition of a site where an event emerges. You know, when he said, what he didn't develop yesterday, and please press him on this, not to catch him, but this is Badiou at his best. When he distinguishes within the multitude of a world, what he calls a world, so-called evental size, like what he called minimally the non-existence. Sometimes he uses the wonderful name of symptomatic torsion, an element which is formally part of the set, but lacks any definite properties to be properly located within the set. It's as if the excess of the set. Sometimes he uses the term surnumerary or whatever. You know, it cannot be, it is included, but cannot be properly counted. So, in other words, that's crucial to understand him. It's not just that, just a multiplicity. He would have shot me for this. Multitude is negri, you know, you heard mention this, no? It's multiplicity. Incidentally, did you get his wonderful point there, apropos multiplicity? It's a very nice position. I think he is right there. His idea is that, and it's again a very Hegelian, is that multiplicity is original. Ontologically, you don't start with one and then you say, okay, we have 1, 1, 2 ones, we go on. No, originally the many, the multiple is original. And now you will say, but fuck it. I'm sorry, now I will be really nasty. I'm using these expressions and gestures so that you will be able to understand me. Sorry, what I was saying is that now you will say, you imagined you, the stupid partner that I imagined. We always think like this. Now you will say, but wait a minute, if you have multiple is by definition many ones. No, his point is no, it goes endlessly. You analyze the multiple, you go further, there are always many. You never, and if anything, today's quantum physics makes exactly the same point, that you will never reach the atomic zero level. So, his very nice theory is that the correlate of multiple is not one but void, zero. And that one comes after. One is the result. You must do very specific operation between, he describes them, between multiple and zero. Basically, this would be the Lacanian solution. I'm not sure he agrees to it, that you arrive at one if you count by counting nothing. By counting nothing. Okay, but that's more the problem of Frege. I don't know if you know this, it's a wonderful, crucial debate, the notion of suture, which was introduced by Miller way back in Jacqueline Miller, and then Badiou wrote a polemics against it. This is, I think, the big debate. But let me go on. So again, I don't think that this reproach holds, because the way to distinguish pseudo-event from event is precisely how they relate to this point of symptomal torsion, point of inconsistency. That's the first ontological premise, which he sometimes elaborates, maybe not enough, is that every totality has its symptomal point. And this can be put wonderfully in Lacanian notions. It means what? It means that every structure is self-reflexive, which means that let's take a classification. You know, at the beginning of his, what's the stupid English title, The Order of Things, Le Mot et la Chose, that Foucault refers to that Borges' famous classification of dogs. White dogs, fat dogs, all dogs which are owned by the emperor, and then at the end, all the dogs who are not included in this list. That's the structural logic. That you, how to put it, there must be a standing within a structure of what is not included in the structure. You must get this minimal reflexivity. Now you will tell me, this is high theory, what does it mean? I will give you a nasty example, which I use sometimes in my work, from Marxism itself. I claim that what is called Asiatic mode of production is such an empty, reflexive sign. That is to say, it is clear if you read Marx really closely, in detail. It is clear that what really fits his conceptual scheme are the standard, well-known, how do you call it, pre-class societies, tribal, whatever, slavery, feudalism, capitalism, and whatever shit comes after, who knows, no? But then, of course, Marx has specific ideas, despotism and so on. But if you look closely at it, what he calls Asiatic mode of production is basically a container where he throws practically everything which doesn't fit any of the others. You know, like everything goes there. From ancient China to Egypt to ancient Inca and so on, Latin American empire. So you see the paradox. This is a term which appears to refer to something positive, but it's really just a negative container. Ultimately, all this wealth of determinations, yes, ancient Chinese empire, Hindu, whatever, shouldn't deceive you. It's basically just a negative container. And this would have been then the symptomal, this excessive symptomal point. So I think that the reproach, and I'm not here dropping my topic, because this is how Hegel's logic works. This is Hegelian reflexivity. The way but you, I think, can answer triumphantly this reproach. But how do you know, let's be concrete, for example, how do you know that why October Revolution was an event? If it was, for me it was, I give you freedom of choice. But you know that wonderful aggressive statement of Lenin, where some guy protested, oh, can I have the freedom of choice to say what I want? You know what Lenin answers? I definitely give you the freedom of choice to say the stupidities you want to say. But then I take to myself a freedom of choice to shoot you for what you are saying. Okay, sorry, let me go on. So, it's clearly that they relate differently to what Badiou called yesterday the inexistent. Because this, what he calls shift from inexistence to the maximum existence, happens only in an event. In Nazism, the symptomal point is just mystified, covered up. In other words, let's class struggle, at least in principle. Let's forget about the shit that actually happens. In a communist revolution, workers effectively, I'm not saying they do, should become, or whatever, you know, they set the standard. It's not that all others should be killed, because if there were all other classes, if this were to be the case, then Lenin should have begun by killing himself. No, it's clear that he was a typical, even upper middle class guy who really had no idea of real working classes. Like, the irony is that if you look at some Lenin's letters, you know that for some time he was living in Switzerland, and he was staying by some middle-class artisanal family who had a house, they rented him a room, blah, blah. And Lenin wrote enthusiastic letters to friends. Now I see I'm in contact with ordinary people, workers. Fuck him, these were no workers. This was typical